Welcome back, everybody, to Photography Tips and Tricks, your show for gear tips, inspiration, anything that you need to get your photography over to the next level. My name's RC, and this week we're going to talk a little bit about July 4th, fireworks, right? So we want to give you some tips on how to be able to make great fireworks pictures, as well as we just got in the roller derby from ThinkTank Photo, as well as the briefcase. So we talked about all of this stuff last week, and I just kind of briefly mentioned it, and sure enough, all of a sudden a couple of them show up, and you're gonna get to win one of them. So there's a lot of information for us to cover. I'm also gonna talk a little bit about my favorite bags from ThinkTank with a special drop-in from Dianne Fitzmaurice, one of the owners of ThinkTank Photo. Before we do all of that stuff, I do want to talk to you about fireworks. Now, on Photography Tips and Tricks, a lot of the times whenever I'm working on something like this, I'll usually solicit feedback from you guys, right? So I'll go on Facebook. If you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/aboutrc, and I put in something. And Scott Jeffcoat had asked, since we're coming close to July 4th, what do we do with July 4th fireworks? How do you take July 4th fireworks? And I was like, that's a great idea. Let's go ahead and talk about it right now. Now, these are the general things that you need to consider when you're working with fireworks and your camera. The first thing that you should consider is you should always try to use a tripod for this, right? There's a couple of different reasons for that. When you go to a location and you want to be able to set up for it, you want to make sure that the location is locked down. Right? You don't want to change too much. When you do that, you insert a lot of different problems with the pictures, right? So you have your location set up, it's scouted out, you know exactly where you want to be able to go, boom, you lock down your tripod. Nothing else is moving from there. So that's one of the first things that I usually tell people. The second thing is you want to make sure that you take your ISO and you bring it down really, really low. So 100 to 200 ISO is usually a good thing. Now, why do you want to do that? You're going to be shooting pictures of something that is going to take multiple seconds to happen. So imagine, bad sound effects. I know, but the point with this is that you have a big light that's traveling in one direction, and then you have a big explosion, and then you have that fall off. That happens over a specific amount of time. So you're going to need to have this sensor open for a very, very long amount of time and not burn a lot of the image into it. So by having a low enough ISO, you can get into 4, 5, 7, 10 seconds when you're getting that stuff, and you'll get enough of the exposure without blowing a lot of that stuff up. Now remember that when it's exploding, it's also going to cause a big light pulse right there. You want to make sure that you capture all of that information. The second reason is you don't want to have a lot of noise in those pictures. So low ISO is going to take care of that. The next step that I usually do is shutter, right? You want everything edge to edge sharp. So what you'll do there is usually use something like f11 or higher. That'll get you the entire scene sharp. You'll get enough of a drag for you to be able to make that exposure, and you'll get something that's going to have low noise. Now, once we've covered ISO, we've covered shutter, we've covered the location lock on the tripod, the next thing that you want to keep in mind is, or we've covered aperture, ISO, the location of the tripod, lockdown. Now, shutter is the last thing that you want to consider. Different people do this different ways. A lot of the times, you want to use a very, very slow shutter. 4 seconds, 5 seconds is something that's really good, so you can see the psh, push, done. So that's like 4 seconds or 5 seconds of duration, but even better, I think, would be to use one of these, a cable release. Now, by having a cable release, you can collect, and this is a cable release from Velo, right? They'll make them for different camera manufacturers. But what you want to do here is you want to take the cable release and you connect it to the camera. You have it set up. Now, once that's done, everything's locked down, you're just sitting there going, wow, this is really good, wow. And as soon as you see something that's going to happen, click, you press it, wait, 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 explode, let it go. As soon as you start seeing the light trails come down, you let go. But that's only going to happen if you're using one mode on your camera. That mode is bulb mode. Almost all cameras will have it. It'll be set as a letter B. That means that for as long as you hold down the remote, it stays open. The moment you let go of the remote, it shuts down. So setting yourself up in bulb mode, now you can watch the fireworks and you can just go, all right, wait for it, wait for it. Oh, look, here comes a good one, click. And then as soon as it's trailing down, let go. The last part for all of this is just waiting. It's just waiting. So here, a lot of the times, I can experiment a lot because I have a daughter, right? And we go to Disney. So my wife and I take her there all the time, and we have a chance every time that they do fireworks for us to be able to experiment with this. This is what happens when you're just shooting this, and take a look. This is 2.3 seconds at f10 at 200, right? It looks like the Disney castle is going to be on fire, right? Kind of sucks. No, no, no. You are going to have to go through a lot of these kinds of pictures. Look, somebody call the fire department, right? That's going to happen. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Look, and that's just a question of timing. Did I hit it right? You got to practice on your timing. Not all of these tips are not going to necessarily get you an amazing fireworks shot. You need to have all of these things come through together. So let me just get and show you a couple of the shots that I thought were really good here. So I'm going to go to this collection, right? This was something that I enjoyed. I thought that was okay, right? There's one, there's two, there's three, and probably one of my favorites. It was just one of those happy accidents that I happen to have. Firework palm trees in Orlando. Well, it's a Florida thing, so I thought it was kind of neat. But you're going to need to have all of this information. So what do you want to do? Low ISO, 100, 200 if you can. Take your aperture. Make sure that your aperture is set to f11 or higher. Take your shutter, move it to bulb mode. Make sure that you stay locked down, scope out the scene, lock yourself down and go, you're ready. Cable release, make sure that you're using it. As soon as it comes up, press. As soon as the lights trail down, let it go. And then the last part, it's just a bunch of experimentation. Hopefully that'll help you this July 4th. Now, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got the new roller derby, right? The airport roller derby, as well as the laptop My Second Brain, the My Second Brain laptop bags from ThinkTank Photo, and a conversation with Dianne Fitzmaurice, one of the owners of ThinkTank, right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Photography Tips and Tricks. RC here. Now, I want to talk to you about a couple of releases for the ThinkTank bags, right? So they have the airport roller derby as well as the briefcase version of the My Second Brain. But before I do, I thought it was awesome. We had Dianne Fitzmaurice, one of the owners of ThinkTank, here doing a special segment with Mia McCormick on Trailblazers. So she does a lot of different things. I'm not going to spoil it. You have to watch that when it comes up. But Dianne actually spent some time with us talking to us a little bit about ThinkTank bags and some of my favorite bags, giving me a little bit of insight on how they were created. Take a look. Hey everybody, RC here. Now, I gotta tell you, I'm really excited about this. We have Pulitzer Prize photographer and one of the creators of ThinkTank Photo with us here, Dianne Fitzmaurice. Dianne, good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I know. I'm excited. I'm a little gushy. I got to tell you.
Bring it on.
I got to tell you. So Dianne is here doing an interview with Mia McCormick for a new Trailblazers. So the series is about inspiring women, powerful, inspiring photographers, and no better person to talk to than Dianne about that. You do, travel work, you do sports work, you work with ThinkTank. So you're going to talk a little bit about the photography side of what you do over at the Trailblazers show. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to talk to you about the ThinkTank because I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
We like it.
So ThinkTank Photo produces what I think are the world's best bags when you're a photographer. They're smartly designed, and we can go on and on about it, but before we do that, I kind of wanted to just spend some time with you talking about the philosophy, like where it all started and how it all came to be. So tell me a little bit about it.
First of all, I have to say I'm really excited to be here at Calvi.
Cool.
And it is great that there are so many ThinkTank bags around. Everywhere I look, in every room, there's piles of ThinkTank bags. This is good.
It's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Yeah. So basically how ThinkTank came about is well, my husband and I, we were newspaper photographers working at the San Francisco Chronicle and Examiner, and running from assignment to assignment, we had cameras clanking around in our trunk of our cars. You're on the move, right?
Yeah.
And so my husband said, I'm going to come up with something for that. So he came up with this trunk organizer. But I mean, it was great. He just gave them to all of us, working at the paper. But he didn't really know what to do with it beyond that. So he went and he met with Doug Murdoch.
Okay.
And Doug Murdoch and he became good friends and also started collaborating. And Doug Murdoch is a bag designer.
Okay.
And so Kurt would, give him input on what he was looking for in a bag, and I did a little bit as well. But it was mainly Kurt and Doug, working on bags. And then when Doug went to start his own company, ThinkTank, he asked Kurt and me to be part of it,
Nice.
along with bag designer Mike Sturm.
Nice. So now the four of you spend time working on designs to be able to solve photography problems. So it's a little bit, because that's kind of entrenched into your philosophy about how you do things.
Absolutely. We have all the problems. Being out there working photojournalists, we come up with the problems. We bring them back, and our brilliant designers figure out solutions to them. But just trying to figure out how to get your gear on airplanes, and just how to deal with carrying this much equipment.
Right. And now it's one of the philosophies is also being understated.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so where does that come?
Well, as photojournalists, our background, we don't want it to look like we've got all this camera equipment. So it's all about not looking like a camera bag and just really being understated.
Right, and that's one of those things. So it's quality construction. You have something that's very, very understated, very thoughtfully designed. Like here's something, this is probably not going to be good for the mics, but this is a retrospective 5. All right, so inside of here, I actually have my, 1, 2, 3. So it's an XT1, 55 to 200, 56, 18, and 55. But the bag, it kind of opens and closes on Velcro. But look, you have these things here called silencers. You can actually open these out, lock this, and now, anytime that you open up the bag, there's no noise. So
Just a flap.
It's just a flap. And I think that those kinds of things are, it's just, when you look at the bag and you start working with it, you're like, immediately after you get it, you're like, this is actually very thoughtfully designed. And I think that that's really cool. Now, you threw a challenge down. and I want to take you up on this. I'll come back to this one. But you said you had a little bit of a story about each of the bags that I use. And I was like, that's kind of cool for me. So I wanted to see it. This is the bag that I carry all the time with me. This is the shapeshifter. Now it's basically, I carry it 90% of the time, I carry it like this, but it's basically just my laptop bag, right? Laptop, iPad, and stuff like that. But this second thing comes out, and as soon as that happens, right, in the cases in a pinch, I can actually throw D3S in here, D3S in here, one lens, one lens, one lens, and I'm off to the races. So it stays small, but where did this come from?
Well, our philosophy really is about listening to photographers and designing things that photographers need. So we do get a lot of input all the time that we really value. But I do remember one assignment I was on, I was shooting a golf tournament, I think it was the US Open, and I had to transmit pictures as I was going along, like at the fourth hole I had to stop. So I had to shoot this golf tournament with a long lens. I think I had like a 400 2.8 and a lot of equipment, but I also needed my laptop with me. So I was talking to one of our designers, Mike Sturm, and I was saying, is there anything that you could think of where I've got my laptop and all this equipment, but when I get to the tournament or to the assignment, I take out my equipment, then I've just got a thin laptop on my back so I can work, so I can move around and I can work. And so
The shapeshifter
he started working on the shapeshifter.
was born.
Yeah.
This is probably the bag that I carry with me 90% of the time. I think it's day in and day out, that works. Now,
It's amazing how much you can put in that bag.
you
Isn't
can put
it?
a lot. You can put a lot.
Every pocket.
I was just telling the story that I usually carry a big bag, and if I get checked at an airport where I can't carry the big bag, I usually have the shapeshifter and this in my trunk, and I dump everything to that, and then it makes it a lot easier for me.
Yes.
But that brings me to the second bag, the retrospective 30.
Yep.
So this bag is about as nondescript as it comes.
Yes, yep. We wanted, kind of old school, kind of classic, simple bag that doesn't look like a camera bag.
Okay.
But also, something we really tried to achieve with this bag is a bag that just hugs your hip, where it doesn't stick out. It's not a big, bulky bag. So we really tried to achieve that, and our designer, Lily Fisher, worked on these bags and just did a beautiful job with the details and all, but it was really just about
hugging really close,
and we kept
really
going
subtle.
back. We kept going back. No, it needs to be softer, softer, softer.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
what I like about the softness of it and about how nondescript it is, and I was telling them about it. When I pack bags, I usually pack this in my suitcase.
Yes.
I fill it with undergarments, and then from there I get to a location, and then I deploy out
Yes.
into a bag, and that's the bag that I almost always deploy to. Then there's the big guy.
Yep.
Airport security. This is the bag that carries a large portion of my gear. What do I like about it? Right? Wheels. I like the skid plates that you guys have put in here. They're bolted in. I love the lock.
Yes.
And I'm a big fan of the fact that for such a big bag, you have shoulder straps and cable. That I thought was really cool. I
Yeah.
actually cable that to my car.
Oh, really? That's a new one?
Inside the trunk of my car when I go to a
that's
shoot.
good. That's good.
I cable it in the car because
great.
I'm like, people are looking at my
Yes,
stuff.
exactly.
So-
Especially if you're in a sketchy neighborhood.
Yeah, and I think it works out. It works out very, very well. So the security. Thoughts on the security?
Yeah, a lot of different things. One thing I want to mention is the wheels are replaceable. We'll just ship you out a new set of wheels if
Okay.
you ever have a problem with them. The handle is also replaceable, and we would just ship that out to the
cool.
customers. That's good to know. But the thinking on the locks, that was so important to us, where I was shooting a lot of sports at the time, and I remember I would go to an event like a football game, and I would have to leave part of my equipment in my roller in the press room and go out and shoot. And I would always worry about the rest of my equipment in the press room. So, we figured the lock, you lock the contents of the bag, and then you take the cable and you can lock the bag to something.
Yep, and I've used that overseas quite a bit.
Yes.
I'm like, find the biggest portion in the room, something that doesn't move, and you lock it there. But so those are some of the stories. That's a little bit of the philosophy. If people want to find out more about this kind of stuff, where could they go?
Well, our website, thinktankphoto.com. We also have a blog. We're also doing a series on our blog called About a Photograph,
Nice.
where we feature a different photographer and a different photograph every couple of weeks. So we have those on our blog as
Perfect.
well.
We'll have to go take a look at that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thanks for stopping by. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you. It's been fun.
I think anytime we get a chance to be able to talk to someone who's directly involved in design of camera bags or any kind of technology, it's a great thing. Now let me talk to you a little bit about what they have for the My Second Brain. So if you're not used to the My Second Brain line, this is basically it, right? This is what you had. Awesome, right? It's a great bag that sits on the bottom of my suitcase or whenever I'm going to a shoot because it's very simple and it's designed for Apple users. Although, I gotta tell you, I use it for my PC too. But it's an Apple user design here. So they have it set up so that this My Second Brain 15 fits my MacBook Pro, which is perfect. Cables and all of that stuff kind of go on the inside, right? You got a little phone or pens inside of here. So it's very smartly designed. I carry this on tour when I use my MacBook Pro. I even throw in my iPad and I squeeze in my Intuos tablet. So my Intuos 5 Small can go in here. And this becomes a really small bag for me to deploy to when I'm not having to carry a whole bunch of different things. That's cool. But they know that individuals wanted something a little bit better and a little bit beefier to carry more stuff, and they came out with this. So this is their My Second Brain briefcase bag. Now, it does have a shoulder strap that you can use, but I thought it was a great concept here, right? Right off the bat, because it's a 15, you can throw your laptop right into this one section. So it fits 15 inches. The only reason that it doesn't fit now is because, well, here's the camera strap. Perfectly done. So now inside of here, you could see that there's gonna be a little bit more slack in here. I could put my iPad if I want there. I could put my Wacom tablet in there, which I think is good. The iPad could also sit on the outside right here, which I think is great. That leaves this entire section here for, oh look, it even tells you right here, kind of hard to see, iPad in here. So you can put that in there. You've got certain pockets. I love pockets, right? So I'm a bit of a pocket fan. Tons of spots inside of here. You also have this one section here, right? So here you can put cards, you can put some pens, things like that. Now look, it tells me, look inside. Oh, don't worry, I will. I can open this up, and now inside of here, right, more pockets. And should you not know how to pack your own bags, which a lot of people don't, right? This shows you what you can do with your cables and dongles and iPad chargers. You flip it over, and now how to pack your power cords. So you get a good spacious interior inside of here, tons of different spots. You can get a rain cover that's attached, or you can detach it, but it's good for rainy days. If you're out there, you can just get and cover the entire thing. Very smartly designed. I think it's great. If you're into shoulder bags, I think that this is going to be one of those that's going to be really good standouts. Now, the bigger one that they had here is this puppy, the Airport Roller Derby. Now, one of the things that I love the most out of the ThinkTank bags is the wheels that they have on the bags, right? I'm a big wheeled bag person, and I have the Airport Security, and I have the Airport Security International. I even have an Airport Navigator, but those are all two-wheeled bags. So you're constantly moving it around, and when it gets heavy, it can get really heavy. This now has 4 wheels. So when this load gets really, really big, you're not dragging it on you, right? Although you could do this. This is something that I thought was really neat, right? So take a look at this. As I move back and forth, if you needed to be able to tip it, it's going to work well. But if it gets extremely heavy, your ability to be able to push it, I think is really, really good. So we'll take a look here, right? Side pockets, cards, the cable lock. This is a godsend for anybody that does any kind of photography. The fact that you can lock this to your car. I lock it on the inside of my car when I go do a shoot. I lock it to hotel rooms. I lock it to beds when I'm traveling, because I want to keep all of my gear inside of this one spot. All you have to do then is just lock the bag and you're good to go. So what do we have in here? Pocket, iPad, laptop can go in here. Pretty spacious, look. I'm gonna give this thing a good elbowing in there, right? There's a lot of stuff in there. So you can take all of this, right? It's not bad. And now let's go ahead and open up the big spot. And take all of this open here. More space, more pockets. And should you not know how to pack this cavernous interior, you get a chart, right? These are the kinds of things that you can pack with it, right? And they don't discriminate. Nikon, Canon. Nikon, Canon. Tons of information. So, thought it was a great bag, thought it was a great design. Can't wait to try it out. I think it's gonna be really good. If you wanna be able to see more of this kind of stuff, make sure you go to thinktankphoto.com. That's the Airport Roller Derby. And you can also find a spot there for the laptop, My Second Brain laptop, the original one that we showed you, as well as the briefcase ones. Now, Peachbit, ebook deal. This is what you want to do. You want to go to peachbit.com/Kelby1. You want to enter in the code Kelby1. And Jeff Carlson has got a great book called The iPad for Photographers. Master the newest tool in your camera bag. I don't know a photographer that does not carry their iPad. And if you do, you're going to want this book. You can get 40% off of this ebook by entering in the code Kelby1 over at peachbit.com/Kelby1. Now, we also have a contest. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go to the Kelby1 website. At the Kelby1 website, you're gonna go find the webcast section. That's over in the More section at the top. So if you can't find it, go to More, go to Webcast. We're hiding it on you. Inside of there, we'll go to Photography Tips and Tricks. Then from there, you want to go to episode 65, right? So you will find it, it will say episode 65. Click on that, move all the way down to the bottom and leave us a comment. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you wanna see. Here, let's show you what it looks like. Down here, that's where you want to submit a comment. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you want to see, tell us what kinds of things you want to be able to see. This is your show. We want to hear from you. So one of you guys is going to win this. You're going to win the My Second Brain briefcase from ThinkTank. Thank you so much, ThinkTank, for donating the prize. I think one of you guys are going to love it. Now, a website that I want you to watch. This is courtesy of 500px, so I can't take the credit for it. I was browsing through 500px and I saw Max Rive. Make sure that you go to Max Rive Photograph. So that's the URL, MAXRIVEFOTOGRAAF. Some beautiful, beautiful landscape photography. So if you want to kick off your day right with a little bit of inspiration, Max, you got it going on. This is a great site for you to look at. So we talked about bags, we talked about fireworks. You guys are ready to go out there and make some beautiful images. And hopefully we'll see you guys here next week on Photography Tips and Tricks. Take care.